Exodus is officially releasing next year, so it is a bit away, but this has not stopped Archetype Entertainment from releasing a ton of expanded media for the game. So far, there's a novel with the second one coming out this year. There is the Traveler's Handbook, a tabletop RPG guide. There is also an Exodus encyclopedia that seems to be finished and will most likely be releasing before the game as well. And alongside that, we are also getting the Chronicles of Malayu. Lots of books, plus the secret level episode, and all the information on the game's website. Plus, they are still doing developer Q&As. Exodus is setting up to be massive. I've never seen a game get so much marketing and expanded media before anyone has actually played the game. But from everything that we've seen, we can kind of see a picture of what Exodus might look like. This isn't necessarily a spoiler video, but I think that with everything we've been shown, we can kind of piece together how the game might work. So if you want to go in blind, I'd recommend not watching this video. I'm going to be talking about things that have been confirmed and origin stories, classes, possible abilities, different things like that. So again, you have been warned. But if you do want to know what to expect from Exodus, here's what I think we are getting. And please remember, this is pure speculation, so don't hate me if this isn't accurate. First, our protagonist, June Aslan, which we know quite a bit about. June is voiced, customizable, and is similar to Commander Shepard with being a more fleshed out and established character. In-game, we will have our father Orion Aslan, our half-brother Gideon Aslan, and Ava, our mother, who is somehow part celestial. June was engineered to be perfect, created from both human and some kind of celestial DNA to be the savior. Our father is Orion, the leader of our home planet Lydon, and he is a famous traveler. When we were young, he left on an Exodus mission, and he never returned. Shortly after this, our half-brother Gideon seized control of Lydon and declared himself ruler. And because of this, June went into hiding. This sets a scene that June has been out of the picture for some time, maybe hiding within Lydon or elsewhere. And I do think this also leaves room for us to help define June's origin story. June is, of course, a traveler, someone embarking on an interstellar journey in search of celestial remnant technology. I imagine we'll start the journey with June as they become a traveler, and not as an already established one. Travelers are often people who are trying to make a name for themselves, or are recruited, and each traveler assumes a specialized role known as a class. The classes are Cataphract, Daemon, Prodigy, and Ranger. Cataphracts are travelers with an affinity for mechs, and they use their mechs to directly interface with. With this connection, operating a cataphract is becoming one with the suit. Consciousness expands to the suit, and this process is draining mentally and physically. Some even become disoriented and feel that a part of their psyche ends up being housed within the cataphract itself. These cataphract pilots are the front line in defending humankind against the many threats of the Centauri cluster. There are two types of mechs to choose from: assault and scout mechs. Assault mechs are a force to be reckoned with even Celestials respecting their capabilities. Scout mechs are often made of mismatched parts and often use remnant tech to interface with the mech itself. They are important in the discovery of new worlds and are known to have a broad toolkit. The next class is Daemon. I don't know if we'll be able to play as a Daemon in Exodus, but we will for sure be meeting some. They have been mentioned in several Exodus reveals so far, and are one of the more interesting possibilities. The truth behind Daemons is really unknown, but they are born from a human and silicate bonding. If the human survives the bonding process, then they become a Daemon, a formidable weapon of their own. Their skin is changed alongside their speed and strength, but most importantly, their mind is also changed. With the silicate and human coexisting to become a daemon, the silicate seeps into the human's mind. A shadow of violence and darkness lingers and changes the mind of the host. There are two types of daemons, shadows and swords. Shadow daemons are known for outburst and violence, and can unleash that shadowy voice in their head. If the shadow is unleashed too far, it can even take over completely and control is lost. They are formidable and unpredictable. Sword silicates are the more visual form of daemons. They grow an exoskin over their entire body, made up of clear, crystalline fibers woven together. And this gives its host flexibility and durability. This exoskin makes them extremely resilient in battle. This is an Eden Casey. They often work for celestials to hunt creatures down, and are a changeling themselves, created by the celestials. The third class is prodigy. The path of a prodigy doesn't seem to be one you can choose, but instead are chosen for. When humans encounter remnant technology, sometimes they have an affinity towards them. No one knows why, but prodigies possess a maverick ability to understand and bond with remnants via neural induction. A prodigy's abilities are a wild card, and they can interact with technology in new and unpredictable ways that even celestials do not understand. Prodigies have two classes, a lancer or a shaper. Lancers are focused on operating and upgrading heavy weapons of war. They dedicate themselves to the offensive and are known to push their limits. Shapers are prodigies who use a special gauntlet to manipulate livestone. With this ability, they can harness the livestone to shape buildings and structures and to crush their enemies in combat. Rangers are travelers who have bonded with awakened animals. The ranger and their awakened animal are more than bonded, sharing their lives as a whole. And because of this, some rangers are viewed suspiciously by other humans. They are often known to be loners, relying on their awakened companion instead of other humans. They can choose from any awakened animal as a companion, but bears, boars, canines, frogs, ravens, and tigers are some of the more common animals mentioned in the handbook. They can be used for combat, scouting, and even healing. I don't know if we'll be able to play as one or all of these classes, but June is special, and we know for sure they can use Orion's Gauntlet, similar to how a prodigy would. So I believe June is maybe a prodigy, and maybe we can choose another class as well, or our companions will fill these roles. Maybe that gap in what June has been up to since being in hiding will influence what class we can play as. I think June's origin is somewhat already established, but if there is room to fill in that gap from when they went into hiding, then the Traveler's Handbook lists 8 different origins: archaeologist, criminal, detective, grifter, hotshot, inventor, soldier, or spy. Every traveler will also be equipped with a Lawrence timepiece. This allows you to keep track of your homeworld in real time and shows the passage of time dilation. This will most likely be how June keeps track of their journeys and time lost while on their Exodus missions. Travelers also use constellation tattoos to mark out their travels. Invisible genetic tattoos are inked on their flesh, only visible when flexed, to show the past star systems they visited. And these tattoos are how travelers' skills are marked. Narrative arcs returning to Lydon after exploration, or exploring a new system, allows for the player to increase their constellation level. Lydon is suffering from the rot, a technovirus killing the technology on the planet, but also destabilizing the Archimedes engine, which will help keep Lydon in orbit. If the engine fails, Lydon will collapse. June's mission is to help find a cure, and to save our home planet. We have several examples of what a traveler can run into on their journey: lost remnant technology, ancient celestial civilizations, and plenty of ghosts. We are searching for remnant artifacts to bring back home. And with these remnants, we can use them, sell them, or extract powerful technology from them, according to the handbook. These missions will take us on Exodus missions, heavily affected by time dilation. And that time dilation seems to take place within 150 years of the game, if the timeline in the Archimedes engine reflects our journey. June's journey on Exodus missions and the concept of time dilation is the main driving force of the game, and the main narrative according to everything the devs have said. There has been an emphasis on choice and consequence, as well as relationships, companions, and family. Which brings us to the anchor. Your anchor is someone back home who you return to. Someone who will also be affected by your choices, but also your absence. According to your handbook, a few examples of this are a best friend, child, mentor, parent, sibling, or romantic partner. The devs have teased that we'll have to make some kind of hard choice, and they even implied a choice like Ashley or Caden from Mass Effect 1. Maybe our companions can become our anchors, and we are forced to leave them behind and watch them age and change while time hasn't passed for us. The handbook talks about how your anchor changes while you're gone. Maybe they have an accident, they age, they die. Anchors seem to be very important, and I imagine June will at least have one, if not many. We will most likely be able to form important relationships with our companions, but also those we have to leave behind. I'm expecting heavy choices that will force us to leave people behind, and having to face the consequences of what that means when we return. We already know two companions, Elise and Tom. Tom's journey was the first reveal of Exodus back in 2023. Him and Maxine Trent went on an Exodus journey, discovered the celestial ship, and were then hunted down by celestials because of it. Tom sacrificed himself to save Max, and because of it, she returned, and her journey was immortalized forever. She became a famous traveler and created the Traveler Dynasty, the Trent Dynasty. And dynasties are the different factions of travelers. They have history and power and influence, and our character June is part of the Aslan Dynasty. Tom, on the other hand, went through the gates, which extended his journey several years. When he returned, Max had lived an entire life without him, and had already been long dead. We can see Tom unlocking the ship with his tattoos, which I believe are maybe constellation tattoos, or maybe he's some kind of prodigy. Elise is a cataphract pilot. She recently woke up from an Ark ship with her mech that she brought from Earth. She spends most of her time upgrading it, and her memory has been lost from her time within the Ark. She doesn't remember the meaning behind her tattoos. Alongside Elise, I believe there is another human companion in this lineup. There's also one that looks non-human, maybe a celestial or a changeling. And then we have something that looks like some kind of synthetic machine, maybe even a ghost. These companions will most likely be very important on our journeys. A celestial companion would also be a good counter to the celestials being mostly the antagonist of the story. They are known to chase after humans, like with Tom, not wanting humans to have access to their technology. And some even hunt humans as the Marayama do. And the devs did confirm that we will be interacting with the Marayama in some capacity. These ugly blobs that turn into hardened warriors that feast on the suffering of others. The Celestial are humanity's greatest enemy. Once human but genetically evolved over 40,000 light years, they now look down on humans, while also controlling what the humans have access to and what they're allowed to do. The Celestials hold majority of the power in the Centauri cluster, And June's story is about leveling the playing field based on everything we've seen. Exploring the world means exploring abandoned and discarded worlds that once held some kind of celestial civilization that has been long gone. These planets are filled with ghosts, mechanical weapons created by the Celestials during their wars. Alongside ghosts, ancient celestial ruins and remnants can be found. We will also meet and interact with changelings, creatures who were created and mostly abandoned by Celestials. They were used for tasks and duties, being some kind of soldier or slave for the Celestials. And what remains of these dangerous creatures is unknown. There's also awakened animal civilizations that have formed over time from being brought here with the first humans to settle in the Centauri cluster over 40,000 light-years ago. The awakened market is a common place to find awakened animals. Whether it's elephant merchants or bear priests, the awakened animals live alongside the humans, as they did before leaving Earth. Majority of the humans on Lydon are from newly awakened arcs, and their civilization isn't far from what they experienced on Earth. They use globe cars to get around. They also use link patches, which is a human communication device that functions by connecting to a private or public network. It attaches to the back of the hand, and we can actually see when being used in the secret level episode, which I do definitely recommend if you haven't already seen it. Honestly, everything we've seen so far of Exodus paints a picture of Exodus being a large-scale exploration-based game. Not open world fully, but more that will be sent on Exodus missions that will force us to make decisions about who we leave behind and who we take with us. During these missions, we will run into Celestials, find remnant technology, ancient ruins, and meet awakened animals and changelings along the way. We'll also meet daemons and ghosts and robots. There will be relationships, family, and romance, all with choices surrounding them. We can choose to upgrade ourselves, become rich, or share technology that we find. As a traveler, we will upgrade our constellation tattoos, maybe upgrade our ship and expand our crew. And our crew could have more than just humans on it. In past stories in the Exodus short stories, there are octopus on ship, raccoons, and different awakened animals and robots even helping on the ship. I think Exodus's awakened animals and changelings will really set it apart from other sci-fi games. It also sounds like they're really trying for heavy choice and consequence, which hopefully means there is heavy replayability and branching paths for us to explore. Story-wise, we're going to be stopping the Archimedes engine from failing, maybe even finding our lost father Orion, and maybe even retaking Lydon from our brother Gideon. These all seem like possible story threads. There's a lot that has been revealed about Exodus so far, and the world, and even about the characters we'll meet and play as. And please just remember this picture I painted is pieced together from what has been officially released, but it is still pure speculation. I really do think that Exodus is going to be a massive hit, and everything we've heard so far sounds like a perfect game made for me. But it also sounds extremely ambitious. They're making a lot of promises at this point, and telling a lot about the game without showing much. I will say that it seems like Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are severely interested in investing in this game. It seems like they believe it will be the next big franchise. From day one, they've been talking about wanting to make several games within this world. And if it is as good as it sounds, I think they could be right. I think they could do that. But traction on the game is slow right now, because frankly, people want to see the actual game, which I completely understand. But before the game actually releases, I think we have 3 more books on the way. The second book in the Archimedes duology, which was just finished, the Encyclopedia, and the Chronicles of Malayu. These books will go more into the monsters, fauna, and worlds of the Centauri cluster, and will show us even more of the world we haven't experienced yet, which does kind of concern me. I really do hope they've left enough mystery and twists and turns to be surprised by the game itself. There's a lot of other things I didn't mention on purpose, because I feel like it's leading up to some kind of reveal or potential story thread. And I don't want to predict the entire game before it comes out. This is all just my guess and speculation, but hopefully we find out more soon. Maybe at Summer Game Fest or for the Game Awards, which seems more likely with Exodus releasing in 2026. But let me know what you think. Have you read the Traveler's Handbook yet? And what do you think of my speculation of the game itself? Does it sound like a game that you'd be interested in playing? And sorry that I kept changing the pronunciation of Leiden or Leiden. It is Leiden, not Leiden, which is going to be very hard for me to remember because I spent like a year and a half mispronouncing it, so whatever. But anyways, sorry that I can't show actual clips of the secret level episode. Amazon will strike my video if I do, but if you want to see more of the world, I definitely recommend watching the Odyssey episode. It's very, very good. And it shows a little of the worlds in Exodus, the world of Malayu being one of those things. Anyways, let me know what you think of everything that I've said here, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my channel members, thank you to my Patreon members, thank you all so much, and see you next time.